No Hardy here. That one thing, you know what I mean? What's going on, fellas? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're gonna get into that mandatory movement. What I wanna try to help you correct is that iPhone posture, right? That super cranked neck forward, glutes unengaged, weak core, kind of sitting, shoulders forward. Familiar? Let's fix it. Cool. So our first issue today that we're gonna address is our mindfulness. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna close our eyes and breathe for a little while. Our objective here is to create a little bit of a cycle of breath in through the nostrils, out through the mouth. Go ahead and close your eyes. We've got nothing else to worry about right now. Be committed to the next several minutes here, working your practice and moving your body. You fill up that air. I want you to fill up the bottom of your lungs really deep. Work to fill the lungs. Go ahead and put some effort into that exhale too. Use that diaphragm, fellas. Force that air out. I want that energy to flow. We're going to use this cycle of energy, this cycle of breathing throughout the practice. So just get comfortable breathing. Guys, if you feel like this is just too much for your knees or your legs, your hips, ankles, whatever, have a block handy, a yoga block. That's what this is for. And go ahead and push that between your legs and sit up on it. Bolster yourself up. Sit where you're comfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. Like a little bit of discomfort's actually intentional. Being in pain, however, gritting your teeth and tensing your body up, that's not okay. Think about it. Are we going to get any more relaxed while we're in pain? Probably not. So, as we assert ourselves here with our breath, as we're sitting deep into this saddle pose, clearing our mind, being here now. Inhale, and as you do that final exhale, go ahead and just let yourself fall forward and grab yourself some mat out in front. Let your head hang. We want that energy to sit somewhere in the lats, somewhere in our armpit. I'm trying to stretch this whole shoulder complex out. If you're not feeling it in the shoulder and you're feeling it in your hips, go ahead and raise your hips up a little bit, right? Almost to a down dog or a kneeled position, we'll call it. And then drop your chest to the floor and then head to the mat, and that's okay. Wherever you find that you're going to be most effective in the stretch, I want you to find yourself there. Your first line of defense is to tense up your abdominals, right? Ooh, you feel that? Okay. Relax. Let the abdominals relax. Wherever you land, you land. And we're going to work back into that breath. Breathing intentionally. With each breath, try to rise. Fill the lungs all the way up, and as you exhale, that fall. Each time you fall deeper, a little bit deeper into that range of motion, that stretch. Release those abs, fellas. They're not doing you any good. Relax. Couple more breaths. On your last exhale, go ahead and push into your hands, drive your hips up. Fall into an all fours position here. Take note of whatever neutral feels like, right? You have a little bit of pressure into your hands, fingers are wide. The weight should be in the palm of your hand, right? Really kind of grip a basketball, if you will. Grip the mat. Let your shoulders fall, your chest fall into your shoulders. Your hips back here just super neutral. Feel what that feels like. And we're gonna articulate that spine a little bit. We're gonna move into a few positions you may have heard of. Is this cow posture. We're gonna stretch the neck, right? We're gonna drive our hands into the mat, almost pushing your shoulders as far away from your neck as you can. Drive that out. At the same time, poke your butt out. Create that little arch in your low back. Breathe intentionally through this. Hold that posture, this isometric tension is very good. Strengthening the lumbar spine. This is the exact opposite of your iPhone posture, is it not? The exact opposite, guys. So we'll spend a little time here. Let those ribs expand. Drive that energy and push the abdominals tight. Squeeze your ribs. On this exhale, go ahead and drop that chin. Loosen up and drive your shoulders up. Tuck your tailbone. Squeeze everything together, nice and tight. Focus into that breath. As you pull your tailbone tight, you feel like you're kind of clenching your abdominals. That's good. Strengthen that core. One more breath, and then we're just going to go back and forth between these two movements. On the exhale, drop the spine, raise the chin. On the exhale, tuck the chin, arch the back. The isometrics, we hold the breath tight. Through the movement, we exhale. Through the movement, we inhale. Last breath. Fall to neutral. Good. We're gonna walk our feet forward just a little bit. I want you to shake your wrists out some. All right, and do a little yoga handshake. Right, so I'm gonna interlock my fingers and I'm gonna roll them from the bottom here, trying to stay interlocked as I go through this whole guy here. Bop, 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 bop. Right. Both directions. Got to take care of these wrists, the forearms. I know I have a habit of sitting and typing, and I always have that flexion right here at the wrist, so all this stuff gets tight. So when I get into these yoga practices, we stretch out these forearms. First, it's really tight. It's hard to hold into these positions. But the longer you do it, the more you do it, the more free it becomes, and we can get into some of those reversals of these patterns that we really need to do. Boom. Press this down into your heart center. Good. I want to reach back a little bit. I'm going to move to the front side of the mat some. I want to reach back with my palms down, fingers away from me, or towards the back of my mat. I want to bring those hands. Shoulders are good, shoulder width. If you can't get back there, bring the fingers forward, and that's just a little bit different of a stretch. All has to do with the rotation that we have. You'll have to forgive this elbow. You'll see it doesn't go straight. So don't mimic this one necessarily. As an example of what straight should look like. But we want to go ahead and try to relax our weight into our shoulders, not shrugging, loose up top. And again, we're trying to let the chin fall backwards. A lot of this is just, again, reversal of pattern, trying to release what is holding our shoulder complex forward in this kyphosis or typing posture, and all those neck muscles in that typing posture. Just doing the opposite here. Use that breath to refocus your mind on the task at hand. It's okay to feel a little tension in those forearms, fellas. It's by design. Oh, and if you find just it's too much, gosh, just go back out of it, right? Shake it out. Might be here in a couple of these a little bit too long at the beginning. It's all right, the clock keeps ticking. You take time, do what you need to do, and then get right back to it. Take a couple of more breaths here. Hopefully you can feel that tension coming out of your neck and shoulders. Wiggle around if you need to. Just stay present. Focus on the body and the breath. Last breath as we exhale, go ahead and tuck your chin. Push yourself out. And again, we're gonna stack that spine nice and tall, engage the core, engage the low back, and sit down. Shoulders back. Another piece of that posture is not having a good connection with the core and a nice firm glute. We all like the firm glute, right? Here we go, just for you. We're gonna lay that on our back, right? Our heels are about hip distance apart. Again, don't overemphasize anything. Fall where the body's comfortable. Should be on your back, feet are kind of tucked into the heel. We're gonna roll our pelvis forward. So what that takes is a little bit of an engagement from the lower abdominals here and a lot of engagement from those glutes. We're gonna do repetitions here. So I want you to just be comfortable with your hands, whether it be here or here. I want you to tuck your tailbone under, right? And then drive into your heels and just push that pelvis all the way up until you feel this full-on extension from rib cage to quad, right? Straight through, and we're gonna hold that glute in posture, tuck tailbone, abdominals super strong here. And you feel it like you're kind of clenching your ribs at the top, right? I'm driving into my heels and my glutes are super firm. My glutes are responsible for this hip extension, right? We're not trying to go crazy out of the building. We just wanna rest into our shoulders, right? I actually like to just kind of usually just sit right here. This isometric is so powerful to build the strength and the connection with your glutes and your abdominals. Most of us have this posture because we have really weak, both of these, right? The lower abdominals that pull on this pelvis are underactive. Our glutes are underactive. So if we fire both of those up at the same time, we just want to spend some time. You may be feeling it right now, burning like fire. That's okay. Suck it up. It's not gonna last forever. Good, 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 good. Let's get back to that breath. Forget about the glute pain. Give me 3, fellas. Give me 3 breaths. Come on, deeper. Squeeze, push, come on. On that last breath, go ahead, relax, 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 good. I'm gonna take my right leg. I'm gonna bring this all the way as close to my hip as I can. I'm gonna hold it with my left foot, the top of the foot. I'm sorry, hold it with my left hand, the top of my right foot. You may already feel some pull back here in this abductor glute. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a push here on the knee. Again, we wanna get uncomfortable, not pain. If you feel a ton of pain in the knee, you're just not ready for this much flexion. That's okay. Back out. Give yourself a little more there. This is okay. So this is just an assisted abduction stretch. Just like most of these stretches, as we inhale, our body kind of expands, right? I want that expansion. I want to be, during that expansion, give just a little bit more. And on the exhale, you can kind of relax and let the body rewind. I just follow that energy flow. I'm going to draw this back in a little deeper. I'm feeling it today. Get that going. And you'll notice nothing about this practice is intense, other than where your edge may be in each one of these postures. And that's for you to just kind of play around with, right? You can end up or begin wherever is good for you. It's not a race. We're not trying to get somewhere quickly. We're trying to just let our body fall into a new position with a greater degree of flexion in the knee, greater degree of flexion in the hip than we're used to, right? That's gonna be the secret sauce, right? Being able to have the dynamic range of motion that each joint is supposed to offer your body. It's called mobility, fellas. Right? It's not flexibility. It's not being able to touch your toes. Mobility is each joint having full range of motion as it was intended to. Now, how do we make mobility happen? Flexibility. So as the muscle has its dynamic range of motion as well, a muscle has to be able to stretch to a particular length to be effective. It also has to be able to contract to a particular length to be effective. So one begets the other, chicken, egg. Whichever one you assign to be the egg, that's what we're working on today. Last breath out. All right, that up. Now, I'm gonna back all the way up. Sit. We're gonna come in, feet together. However this looks, here, here, or here. My intention has nothing to do with how close your feet are to your hip. It's really how tall can you sit on your sits bones? How high can you bring your chest, right? Grab these shins close to the ankles. I don't want my shoulders to collapse, right? This doesn't even look good. Draw those shoulders back. Pull your shoulder blades down and in towards the center of you and sit up nice and tall. Again, this is all kind of a corrective measure against that iPhone posture, right? That chin down, shoulders forward, hips unengaged, no core. We're going against the grain. I want you to feel tension from your fingertips into your shoulders, your chest and back. I want you to create tension from your abdominals, your belly button down into the sits bones of your pelvis. Be on. If you feel like you can get a little bit more into the hip, that's good. Just scoot forward. This is not your grandfather's yoga. If you feel like squirming around, squirm. I don't care. I'm not even there to correct you, so do it. But at the end of the day, just focus on your breath. Get uncomfortable and add some tension. Breathe, damn it. Where do you feel that? In that big backstrap muscle? Probably because we need to work that guy out. And it's not about reps, right? It's not about reps and sets. It's not how much you can row or lat pull. It's how tall can you sit and how much tension can you put into your body for a long, long time. We won't be doing very many planks on this channel, but we are going to learn how to engage our abdominals, our low back. Our trunk is going to get really, really strong. Two more breaths here. Come on, pull. Almost there, guys. We're gonna wrap it up. On this exhale, I want you to just let everything relaxed. Keep your feet out. I want you to just fall forward. If you need to get those feet out a little bit further, that's good too. Fall forward. Tuck your chin just a little bit. Whatever's relaxed. And now I want that low back to stretch a little bit. Just kind of get long through that lumbar. Another time we have to turn our abdominals off so we can sit deeper into this stretch. Again, wherever you are is where you are. Another great spot for like a yoga block. We can put like a yoga block right here and rest our head on it. Big fluffy pillow. You can put a big fluffy pillow here. Again, you're at home. You're probably alone. Get whatever works. Grab blankets. Get comfortable. 2 more breaths. This last exhale, I'm going to lift the head up, push against the legs. I'm going to take my right, just behind. Again, wherever you land, our objective is to get into 90-90. So I'm going to want my 90 degree at the knee, And if you're back here, in order to make that happen, that's okay. Hang back. If you're back here, push into that right glute and let's get some hip extension, right? A lot of this, this type of fluid motion or these postures is going to be predicated on the activation of certain muscles. So in this case, I really have to have my glute on, don't I? So if I'm not pushing, squeezing that muscle hard, I'm not going to get my hip into extension. Now keeping that glute on, if you find yourself a little bit more mobile through the hip, then you can reach forward and hold into this adductor and play here. Again, my glute's still on. I'm still trying to keep this hip in extension, even though I'm falling forward. So now I'm stretching this leg and actively working out the opposite hip. Right glute's on, left hip stretch. Dynamic, very dynamic. And there's a mind-muscle connection here that you guys are gonna have to get comfortable with as we think about what we're doing. Because I could sit here, have nothing on, be completely inactive, and do nothing. Or I can turn that glute on, really squeeze it down, and do my best to get close to the mat, push into that hip. And my left's getting an awesome stretch right now. My only job is to breathe. Comfortable if you want to get. Push into that glute, don't turn it off. Come on. Two more breaths. Come on, push. Come on out. Keep that glute squeezed. I was gonna say glute squoze. That's not right. Good. All right, so come on out of there. A little bit of this kind of guy. I'm gonna just match these feet up a little bit. Have fun as we transition. The more you kind of just move around and make this thing fun, the better off you're gonna do, and probably the more times you'll show up and do the work, right? I want it to be fun. So I'm gonna hang out back here, squeeze this now left glute forward. I'm trying to get as much extension out of my hip as possible. One of the greatest ways to get strong is using isometrics, right? Clenching that muscle and keeping it clenched, keep it clenched. It's called isometric tension. It's why yogis are as strong as they are, right? They're just like holding on to that pose for so long. Their muscle gets really, really dense. Really good at expending energy quickly, right? Strong glutes. So most of this practice, whenever we're strengthening a muscle, it's going to be through the use of isometrics. Good. I'm going to fall into, again, keeping that glute on. Can you tell? Can you tell? Can you tell? Push it. Oh, I got to get into the right place. Move around, figure it out. Reactivate, stay in and stay on. I bet you didn't think like hanging out on a mat, just moving your body around would be this difficult. Literally sweating. It's a good thing. We should sweat. Keep that glute on, whatever you gotta do. Mind muscle connection, or reach back and touch it. Make sure it's on. Did you guys ever play that door frame game? You'd stand in the door frame, press your hands against the door frame really hard for as long as you could. Just squeeze. And then whenever you walk forward, you got out of the door frame, it felt like your arms were flying and you're just like floating up. That's really what isometric tension does. That's what this is. I don't really ever feel like my hip's gonna float though. Maybe it's just something that happens to your shoulders. Maybe I need a door frame. Maybe I need another analogy. On this side, again, everybody, has two sides and every side's different, right? This side, the right, the hip is so much tighter than the left side was. So now my mind wants to go like into the right hip as I'm thinking about the stretch, I'm thinking about the tension, but I keep losing the left glute. I'm like, well, hold on, twofold. Let's be into the left hip and accept the stretch on the right-hand side. Focus energy on the left hip, accept the stretch on the right side. Good. One more, come on. Now on that exhale release, we're gonna go back and do that little match game again. I just roll these back and forth. So you may be able to tell, just moving your body through these ranges of motion, kind of where you're tight, what's going on with your body. I'm gonna cross these right over left into that lotus position, because we're gonna end our session right here, right now. So in review, we wanted to get rid of this down posture, shoulders slumped, loose abdominal, kind of horrible typing / iPhone posture, right? So in order to do that, most cases, we just want to reverse the posture. So if everything's forward, then we want to bring everything back and open. Right? It's not rocket science. I appreciate you being here with me and doing this process. And I kind of want to continue to tackle postural movements for a while, address that as needed. The overarching point or purpose of this particular function is to get you guys moving outside of the norm, doing something different with your body than you would inside of a gym. You can do it at home or in a hotel or anywhere, in a park. I promise you, I will be doing this on the top of a mountain one day, and I'm gonna bring it to you live, for sure. In the meantime, I really appreciate you being here. Go ahead and hang out at the end of this session, just getting loose and appreciating the effort that you just put in to mandatory movement for this body. You're gonna appreciate it long term. Thank you for being here. If you liked this episode, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. And for the life of me, just share it with your buddies. Not a big deal. If you think you're getting value from this, I'm pretty sure you know somebody, another guy that has bad iPhone posture that would really get a ton of benefit from this video. So for now, until then, I'll see you guys later, and thanks again for being here.